Hey guys, it's BearInABackpack, and today we're going to be looking at 60 Seconds, a darkly humorous post-apocalyptic survival game by Robot Gentleman, an independent games developer out of Poland. In 60 Seconds, you play as Ted, the father of a 1950s-style family with wife Dolores and children Little Timmy and Mary Jane. The whole point of the game is to survive in the aftermath of atomic warfare, which includes scavenging for supplies, rationing out daily food, and making sure to deal with any daily events that come up, like bandits, raiders, and the occasional radiation spike. But before you just go ahead diving right into the nuclear wasteland, you might want to start with the atomic drill. The atomic drill serves as the game's main tutorial section and allows you to learn the basics of the game in a non-threatening situation. Well, relatively non-threatening. You learn all the basic movement basics, how to pick up materials around the house during the scavenge phase, what to prioritize, and once you're done with that, how to actually survive in your fallout shelter. Once you've got the basics figured out, you can go ahead and start the main game, and your difficulties include Little Boy, Fat Man, and Sarbama, which I really enjoy because they're all different names of nuclear bombs, so they keep the nuclear 1950s, kind of Red Scare theme going with that. Little Boy is the most forgiving setting, whereas Sarbama will be the truest test of your skills, as it is the hardest difficulty and is very unforgiving. The main game is split into two sections. You have the scavenge section as well as the survival section. In the scavenge section, you have to figure out what to grab before the atomic bomb hits and blasts everything into oblivion. So you need to prioritize. Do you take food? Do you take water? How much food and water? Do you want to take that radio with you? What about a map? What about Timmy? Do you really want to take Timmy? We'll let you decide that one on your own. But either way, you need to figure out what you want to take all within that 60 seconds before the bomb drops and get to the shelter in time. Now, you don't always have to grab all the family members with you. In fact, you can actually go it alone if you want to be that person. If at the end of the 60 seconds you're not right next to the fallout shelter, well, you can call it quits because you lose, sir. You'll duck and cover and hope for the best, but it doesn't really do all that much against atomic fire. Assuming you made it to the fallout shelter in time, you're able to progress to the survival phase, which is really the majority of the game. At this point, you're just surviving day to day, hoping somebody will come to rescue you at some point, but until then, you have to make ends meet. Each day is broken into 4 main segments. You have the update phase, where you learn what happened during the previous day, and also figure out if anyone's hungry, thirsty, tired, sick, things like that, any status effects that are affecting your family members. Then, you move into the rationing phase, where you divvy out food and water to those who need it, if you do at all. Then, you figure out whether or not you're going to be sending someone outside the next day, and if happened the previous day, then you'll be figuring out who to send outside and what to give with them when they venture outside. Finally, you get to the point of the day where you face a random event. Now, sometimes you don't always have a random event, sometimes it's just a flavor text journal entry, but most times it's either a yes or no choice, or a item choice, where you pick an item that you've taken with you into your survival shelter and pony it up as part of the process to figuring out what happens in the random event. The rationing phase of the game is actually fairly simple. In the update phase, they tell you whether or not a family member is hungry or thirsty, so you can very easily respond to that in the rationing phase. However, if you forget or overlook the fact that somebody's hungry or thirsty, you might end up killing them off, and this is often brutally keyed in by the fact that the next day, if you forgot to give somebody food and they were just about to starve, well, there'll be a dead skeleton lying in the room. Yep, the whole rest of the game. Just chilling out there, still dressed in the clothes and everything, while everybody else just to sit and admire it. Yep, good job. If you start running low on supplies, you might need to send somebody outside, and often this is very, very dangerous. Now, you can mitigate this by taking a gas mask that'll help them not get sick, but there's a chance they may never come back, so you do have to balance that on whether or not you need supplies that bad. The most interesting part of 60 Seconds are the random events that happen on a day-to-day basis. Sometimes these will be relatively short-term payoffs where you might be approached by, a randomly traveling group of people dressed in medieval armor banging coconuts together who ask to see your map. If you decide to show them your map, you get some water from them. If you don't, well, they kind of move on and they remain angry at you. Others are more long-term, such as a group of twins that might visit you asking for your help. If you help them, well, nothing really immediately happens, but if you survive to around day 60, they will come back and save you. With all of these events, however, the first time you play through the game, you're probably not going to know what the correct answer is. And sometimes that can be really brutal. There's quite a steep learning curve on it. Sometimes it may end up that you end up accidentally killing off a family member because you chose poorly. Or other times, introduce sickness to everyone because you made a bad choice. And a lot of this just comes with playing the game over and over again and figuring out what the correct choice was supposed to be. To make matters more difficult, a lot of times these events will require specific items to progress through or to complete, and if you don't have them at the time, you'll automatically fail them or at the very least, at least just pass them by. This really kind of factors into a point where you need to know what you need ahead of time so that way you can grab it in the scavenge phase to make sure you're as prepared as possible for the survival phase. The game does have both 3D and 2D graphics. The 3D phase occurs, of course, during the scavenge phase, and in both phases there's kind of a comic booky, cartoony feel to it that I like a lot. In the 3D phase, it's a bit basic, but, you know, the little things help. When you run into things, there's like bam, pow, bing, you know, very comic booky type, you know, accents to hitting things as you're running through the house frantically, trying to grab as many supplies before the world ends as we know it. In the 2D phase, well, you know, it's more or less a static image. There's some small things that happens. Maybe a bug flies across the screen. The characters will blink now and again, and the lights will flicker. Now, to be fair, the one thing that is really nice about the game is that the character models reflect their status. If somebody's healthy, they'll be their kind of standard starting pose. If they're injured, they'll show that they have bloody bandages across their body in certain places. If they're sick, they'll start to look green or tired, maybe be sweating, something like that really lets you know that, hey, this person needs medical attention. It is possible for your family members to go insane from time to time, some family members more so than others. Yeah, that's right, we're looking at you, Mary Jane, damn it. Crazy son of a bitch. Though there isn't a ton of variety in the music in 60 Seconds, it does do a really great job of fitting the grim and desperate tone of the game. The sound effects are similarly sparse, but when they do appear, they appear with a lot of weight behind them. During the fade to black transition, you'll generally hear a small audio cue that'll let you know what happened in the previous day's events. And sometimes this might be a gunshot in case you went fighting raiders, or it might be a small cue such as the door hatch opening to let you know that one of your family members has returned from their expedition. A lot of times though, this can be more ominous than helpful, as a lot of times you may be trying a new event for the first time, such as sending Ted out to go hunting, and then you hear a gunshot, and then Ted's dead. Well, shit. Time for the ratings. So for gameplay, I give it 7 out of 10. For graphics, 6 out of 10. Sound, 5 out of 10. Story, 7 out of 10. Content for cost, 7 out of 10. With an overall rating of 6.4 out of 10. If you want to try 60 Seconds for yourself and put your ability to survive the post-apocalyptic nuclear wasteland to the test, you can go buy it on Steam. Well, that's it for this review. If you like this review, please leave a like or comment below, and if you want to stay up to date and see more reviews like this one, please consider clicking the subscribe button. Helps me out, and then you get to stay current with everything. Also, be sure to check out my other reviews as well as my new series, Free-to-Play Expose, where I go through and play various free-to-play games to give you an idea of what they're about before you go ahead and download them and try them for yourself. See you later, guys.